Dobro jutro, Divine Pisces, 222. It is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020. I'm going to do an energy check-in for the Twin Flames today. And I'll actually be closing this week, so I'll be doing collectives in the morning. So right now, highlighted, of course, is the ending of cycles, which I know I've been kind of saying this for a while, but it seems like there are different cycles right now that are being brought up that need to close too. And I know I kind of touched on this last couple of collectives about the cycles within the connections that actually need to come to a close right now. I do feel there's a lot of codependency within the connections right now. And a lot of you are recognizing this for what it is and recognizing that it does in fact need to end. A lot of you have been really focusing on your healing. You've been focusing on your heart chakra specifically, been trying to purge, you know, some of the negativity that's coming up, some of the darkness that's coming up. And I know I mentioned the disassociated subpersonalities yesterday. I do feel that this is key, guys. This is the key to inner union, is actually like reintegrating all the fragmented parts of yourself into one, right? And so this has been, I feel, very, very difficult. And some of you have actually been doing this probably without realizing you're doing it, you know, and it kind of goes along the lines with inner child healing and stuff like that, because a lot of these disassociated subpersonalities do come from childhood wounds. But some of them obviously are us as adults too. Like I have several in my 20s, right? So I feel like a lot of you have been kind of integrating at least the inner child stuff when you've been working on the inner child healing and forgiving the inner child and comforting the inner child and that sort of thing. But now it's time to turn the attention to all of them, okay? Because they're all related, okay? And a lot of us, you know, we're so afraid of these personalities, we don't even want to embrace them because, you know, they're scary. Some of them are scary, you know, like the shadow aspects of ourselves are scary. And with this last moon, you know, there were so many shadow aspects coming up, shadow aspects of our personalities, shadow aspects of the connections, shadow aspects of the karmic situations, you know, there's just so many shadows that were coming up. And I know it was kind of overwhelming. Right? And it's led a lot of us into triggers. A lot of us have been triggered to release, you know, some situations, to release some codependency, to release some emotions that have been coming up through the heart chakra, right? Because the solar plexus is the trigger chakra, and the heart chakra, of course, is the purging chakra. So a lot of us have been triggered to release some cycles that we've been recognizing, and that of course could be in the connection itself, okay? And that itself could actually be, sorry, it skipped again. So some of us actually might actually be triggered right now because of the triggers, if that makes any sense. So yay. Triggers abound. All right, let's take a look at Divine Masculine. All right. Okay. All right, so some of you have been waiting for communication from Divine Masculine, and I mean, waiting begets waiting, right? So a lot of you are still waiting for this communication. You're disappointed there's no communication, but Divine Masculine right now doesn't feel like they can communicate. Now, some Divine Masculines right now are getting information from source. They're being communicated with by their spirit team and that sort of thing, and some of them are trying to reject it. All right, but of course the message that's coming through is that they're not fulfilled, and they're not fulfilled, and they know they're not fulfilled, that they're in whatever situation that they're in, that it's not a good situation. They've been recognizing that for a while. They're just, you know, not ready to really do anything about it yet, you know, but some of them have put up their boundaries here. Some of them have, again, energetically and emotionally disconnected from these situations. Some of them have put up boundaries with Divine Feminine right now. Some of them are doing it on purpose so that you don't feel the energy that's surrounding them, because the situation that they're in is very, very toxic. So it's like they're protecting you, right? Some of them are getting dreams or getting visions, especially of past lives and about the connection and that sort of thing. A lot of symbolism I do feel coming in for divine masculine right now, and he may not actually be fully aware how to interpret this, but it is a healing process, okay, and they'll figure it out. But divine masculine right now is really being urged to listen to his intuition at this time, right, and to recognize the truth of the situation. And some of them, again, are in some very manipulative situations. Some of them are being manipulative, okay, so they're not fully innocent, so don't think that, because it's not true, okay? And some of them just haven't, as of yet, come to terms with the parts that they've played in some of these situations, right? And so they're sitting there, you know, in their heads, you know, trying to figure out how to move forward, but at the same time, they're like, oh, woe is me, you know, I'm the victim here, blah, 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 when that's just not true, okay? So there's codependency here. There's codependency that needs to be released with divine masculine, okay? And he's just, I do feel some divine masculines are in denial right now, again, about the part that they've played in their situation. They're just kind of constantly in this victim mode. You know, some of them are blaming divine feminine, you know, like, oh yeah, everything was fine. Everything was totally fine until divine feminine showed up, and then, right? No. The problem was always there, divine masculine. Divine feminine only highlighted it for you. You're welcome. So, look. Ugh. Alright, let's take a look at divine feminine. Yeah. Well, divine feminine's focusing on herself right now, and that's good. I do feel, again, a lot of divine feminines who come to this realization of the actual codependency that's been within the connection. They've been doing their healing because of divine masculine. They haven't been doing their healing because of them. There's been ulterior motives. So a lot of divine feminines have noticed that, recognized that, and stepped away from the connection, and are working on manifesting their own new beginning right now, right? Working on building their own foundation right now, regardless of what divine masculine does, and that's the point. That is the point. So divine feminine, done with the games, triggered to move forward, triggered to take action. And some of you, maybe you have expressed this to divine masculine. Maybe you've actually reached out to divine masculine, like, okay, bye. You know, I'm working on myself right now. Like, you do whatever you got to do. You know, I'm releasing this situation because I'm done with the games, right? And so, you know, divine feminine's like, I'm done with not communicating with you. I'm done with you being in and out. You know, I'm done with you know, the disconnect, and I just want to work on myself right now. So, you know, thank you, but goodbye for now, or whatever. Okay, so some of you have probably reached out already. Some of you have done it in 5D. Some of you are just like, yeah, okay, well, you know, I'm kind of tired of this 5D back and forth nonsense. None of it makes sense. There's a disconnect here. I don't really understand the disconnect, but you know what? I'm not going to dwell on it anymore. This situation is making me feel really crappy about myself, and it's toxic within itself, so I'm going to release it, right? And I'll deal with the heartache. I'll deal with it. You know, I do feel lonely, but you know what? It's fine. I'm fine. I'm self-sufficient. I don't need anybody else. I don't need anything else. I have my spirit guides to guide me. You know, I'm good. So some of you, again, in the situation itself, in the connection itself, have stepped away. And some of you, this is actually reflecting in the karmic situation as well. You stepped away from the connection, so you've also stepped away from the karmic situation, and see how it's like working in parallel. It's working in tandem, right? And so again, divine feminine kind of back in hermit mode here, going, all right, what do I do? What's my next move? Help me, spirit. What do I do? Show me the way. Shine your light. Help. Right? Alright, let's take a look at the connections. I'm going to try to make this a quick one today, guys, because I've got stuff to do before I go to work. Alright. Yeah, okay, so yeah, ending of codependency, guys. Ending of codependency. Alright. Realizing what the illusion is and what the truth is now, okay, and understanding what we need to do to move forward. Some of you have been holding yourself back from walking away from this situation because you're afraid you're going to lose your twin. You cannot lose your twin. You cannot. You're the same soul. You cannot. The connection's not going anywhere. The connection is always there. So that should be absolutely no excuse to set up boundaries if you need to set up boundaries with your counterpart. Okay, and I know that's the hardest thing to do, is setting boundaries with your counterpart, because you're setting boundaries with yourself. But if you think about it, it's the greatest way to learn how to set boundaries with yourself, right? Because they are your greatest teacher, right? Yeah. Yep. Time to stop playing games in these connections, okay? This is not a game. It's not. But yeah, so look at that. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. Oops. 8 of Cups in reverse. Page of Wands in reverse. Like, Divine Feminine's like, I'm done. I'm out. I mean it this time. I'm out. I'm done. Right? I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on my own new beginning right now. So Divine Masculine, you do whatever you need to do. You find your motivation. You figure your crap out, okay? Because I'm tired of trying to do it for you. And Divine Feminine, don't kid yourself. You've been trying to do it for him this entire time, right? But Divine Masculine needs the strength to do it himself. Okay? You can't do it for him. You can't. All right? Now, you can set the example, which, as we all know, Divine Masculine does watch Divine Feminine, right? Cast off the burdens of other people's guilt, though, and I feel like you've been taking on, again, Divine Feminine has been taking on Divine Masculine's guilt, taking on Divine Masculine's burdens, taking on Divine Masculine's karma. Don't. You can't. Can't. All it's going to do is make you feel like crap. Right? He's got to deal with it himself, right? If there's a third-party situation, he's got to release it himself. You can't do it for him. You can't. Now, focus on your own your own third-party situation. I'm telling you, a lot of Divine Feminines still have karmic situation that they're dealing with right now. Be honest with your feelings. Some of you have still not been honest. Some of you have been letting Divine Masculine walk all over you. Some of you have been letting other people walk all over you, and you haven't been honest. You haven't been honest with the way that makes you feel. It's not even to yourself. Like, you haven't even acknowledged it to yourself. Like, you're in your head going, no, it's fine. It's kind of like some of you don't really understand the difference between being compassionate and being a doormat, right? So some of you need to learn that lesson, right? Some of you need to figure that out. Some of you have so much drama around you that still needs to be released, and you're like treading carefully, trying not to fall into the water, right? So you're watching what you say, you're watching what you really actually even controlling yourself and what you think and things like that. And like, don't do that. Don't do that. Set your boundaries. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with others. Okay? I guarantee you people will respect you more when you're honest about how you feel. They may not like you, but who cares? Alright, messages from the counterpart. Now, some of you have complained that the sound isn't as high as it used to be. Honestly, guys, I can't talk any louder than this. I'm not going to sit here and scream at my computer. I'm just not going to do it. When I listen to the video on YouTube, like sometimes I do that just to go back and make sure clear that, everything uploaded correctly. I hear it just fine. Okay, so it's not a setting on my upload. It's not my video. It's something to do with the app that you guys are using or whatever. Okay, because it's not on my end. All right, let's get some messages and advice from Source. Yeah, some of you are still in the middle of some lessons right now. I mean, we're always learning. Always learning. Okay, so that's not really a surprise. All right, so just make sure you're learning the lesson. Learn the lesson already. And what is the lesson? Well, honestly, that yourself is key. Yourself is key. All aspects of yourself are beautiful. Remember that, and especially when dealing with these, inner child wounds and dissociated subpersonalities, right? Some of you are still giving in to temptation. Some of you are really wrapped up in the 5D communication. And 5D communication is great. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful avenue, especially in the absence of 3D communication. However, make sure you're not using it as a crutch. Make sure you're not using it as a coping mechanism, okay? Yeah, some of you still haven't dealt with this. Again, some of you still are not being honest with yourselves or with anybody else. Okay, because you're afraid of rejection. So you're afraid to take off the mask, and you're afraid of rejection. Okay, have no fear. Move forward without fear. There's no reason to feel it. Okay, you are protected, you are guided. All right, trust the process. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If this has resonated, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.